Hello and welcome to the another episode of Tech Thursday. The lens I'm going to talk about today is Tamron 28 to 75 f2.8 for Sony-e-mount full frame cameras. I have been using this lens for 6-7 months now, so it's time for a long-term review. But before I go any further into the details, it's time for the intro. So welcome back guys, this is the Tamron 28 to 75 f2.8 for Sony full frame E-mount cameras. The first thing I'm going to talk about this lens is the design and build quality of this lens. As soon as you pick it up you can feel it's made up of plastic, but of course it's almost $1,200 cheaper than the Sony G Master lens, so there will be a little bit of difference in the design and build quality. One thing which is weird about this lens, and it took me like day or two just to get used to it, is the zoom ring, which is actually at the front, not at the back, and the focus ring is at the back. So it took me like day or two just to get used to it and develop a muscle memory that the zoom ring is at the front, not at the back. It weighs around 550 grams as compared to the Sony G Master lenses, so it is definitely lighter than the Sony lens. What Tamron did here, instead of going to the conventional focal length which is 24 to 70, they actually went for 28 to 75. By cutting the glass, they made this lens much smaller and lighter. So yeah, if you're on a budget and you want to travel light, this is the lens I would definitely recommend to you. No doubt Sony G Master lenses are really great and they are sharp and their picture quality is superb. But yeah, again, depends on the scenario. If you are on a budget and you want to travel light, this is your lens. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the photo and video quality of this lens. In few moments I'll head to Lightroom and show you some of the shots I have taken in past with this lens. Yes, there is a little bit of vignetting and you can easily remove by enabling the profile corrections method. Let's go to the Lightroom now. So here we are in Lightroom guys. This is the shot I took while I was visiting Cockatoo Island here in Sydney, Australia. It's an old 18th century prison, now a National Heritage Site. Anyways, let's get back to work. This is a direct raw image from my Sony a7R III. There are no edits or cropping done whatsoever on this image. So let's see the picture quality. If I zoom in, you guys can see it's pretty sharp and it looks really good. So yeah, if the price you're paying as compared to the Sony's G Master lenses, I think it's really worth it. And the other issue about the vignetting, as I said earlier, the vignetting and the lens distortion issue, yes, there is a little bit of vignetting and lens distortions while you are taking shots wide open focal lengths. As I took this shot on 28mm, I'll be able to show you guys what I mean. So if you see on the right hand side and this panel, and if I scroll down to this section called lens corrections, I'll click on this enable profile corrections and you'll see the difference. Just keep an eye on the corners. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. You guys can see it actually removes the vignette and also clears the lens distortion from the corner. One more time, 1, 2, 3. Here we go. So yeah, there is one extra step, and it'll be much easier if you are shooting in RAW, because it automatically picks up the data from the image and applies the profile perfectly. Otherwise, if you are using JPEG format, then you have to come here and choose your make, model and profile selection manually. So that's it from this image. Let's move on to the another one. So here's another shot I want to show you guys in macro situation and how the bokeh looks. So yes, this picture is a little bit of overexposed. We'll fix it right now. Let's bring the exposure down. I guess one stop will do it, on one stop. Yeah, and bring down the highlights. Looks pretty good. And we also apply the profile corrections. We come down here in the lens corrections, click enable profiles corrections. Yes, looks better. So if I zoom in now, you guys can see how sharp this image is. Where the point I try to focus on it, it's pretty sharp. So yeah, this lens is pretty good in macro situations. Let's go to the another picture now. So here's another shot when I visited famous Manly Beach here in Sydney, Australia during the Jazz Musical Festival last year. As we saw earlier, the image quality from this lens, of course, is pretty good. I can actually see these people and like it's pretty sharp. No intentions of stalking. I'll zoom back. Let's talk about vignetting and profile lens corrections again. So if I scroll down here and click enable profile corrections, that's it. It actually fixes up your image, picks up your profile perfectly and removes the vignetting from the corner. Again, there is no edits done whatsoever with this image. This is a pure raw image taken from my Sony a7R III. So I hope you guys have got the idea about the vignetting issue I was talking about earlier and the lens distortion issue. That's it from Lightroom. Now let's move to the next section. The video quality and autofocusing is quite satisfactory on this lens. Yes, there were issues about the autofocusing in earlier days when this lens was released, but Tamron after that released couple of firmware updates which actually fixed the issue for this lens. So I have tested it in few different scenarios and it has performed pretty well. To show you guys, I did couple of tests like walking towards the camera and going back, and it picks me up pretty quick and won't leave it after that, and the focus stays on me throughout the video. Let's check the next test. And the last test I did was the close autofocus, and you can see it performed pretty well. In conclusion, this lens does a really good job in video also, and the video quality is pretty fine. So my final thoughts about this lens after using for 6-7 months is, if you are on a budget and you want to travel light and you are okay to compromise a little bit of picture quality as compared to the Sony G Master 24-70 lens, I would definitely recommend for you. And also, if you are taking pictures and posting on Instagram, there is no way anyone can tell the difference between the two lenses. So definitely go with this one. So that's it from me today. Hopefully this review was helpful for you guys. If there's any questions, please feel free to leave it down below in the comment section and I will reply as soon as possible. Until next time, see ya. And oh, don't forget to like and subscribe.